Hello everyone. Today we're going to finish up the Beauty and the Beast project because by October I'm hoping to get back to work on the Munsters. Um, and I have got so much going on right now, just trying to get things laid out. Some of this stuff I've already started working on. We are going to make a bow for Gaston, and to make his bow, I have actually decided to just make that out of poster board, and I've took two pieces and I've glued them together here, and I've got this nifty little roller where I glued the two together. I was kind of rolling that to make sure they're really flat and together. So I've got those glued, and once they are dry, I'm going to cut the bow out from that. Um, and then he's got to have some arrows, so I am actually just using these giant toothpicks for the arrows. And then I've cut a little piece of yellow paper for the little feathery part at the end of it. The feathery part. I don't know the technical term for that little piece on the end, but I'm sure they don't call it the feathery part. But I've cut that little piece of paper, glued it on there, and let me see if I can focus this. I'm just going to trim it down to kind of have the shape that I guess it should have. Something more like that. And then do that little number there. And that's just kind of what I'm going with. I mean, that's a pretty lame excuse for a arrow, but that's what I thought would look pretty good. And I'm going to age it up a little bit later, but I'm going to make several of those. And of course, he's got to have a little pack to wear on his back to carry those in. So I've started making that out of this same poster board that I'm going to be making the bow from. I've just rolled a little piece up a little bit wider, kind of almost a cone shape, and then I've glued it to a base, and then I'm just going to go around and cut the bottom off here. But I don't think my glue's dry, so I'm going to, I mean, it's probably dry enough to where I can cut it. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it here. Just trim the bottom. And of course, oh no. Oh no, wait, never mind. It's good. I thought it was coming off the bottom. Alright, let me get that. Oh no, it is coming off. Okay, it's okay. Just gotta trim around it. And I'll do it better. Clean it up a little bit. But there's a little bow carrier. It's got a little bottom so they don't fall out the bottom. And then, of course, I gotta paint it. But there's the little pack. And then we just gotta put a strap on it where it will hang around his chest, kind of like it does back here in my picture. So that's going to look pretty cute. And then what was the other thing? I was going to make a gun, but I don't think he needs a gun. If I'm going to have the bow and arrows, I'm just not going to make the gun because I figured that would be really hard to make. And then I thought about making some little beer mugs, and I don't really have a place to sit the beer mugs in the diorama, so I don't know if I'm going to even make a beer mug. Um, but I just wanted him to have at least the little bow and arrow pack because that's a real popular thing that he wears through the movie. And then the other thing, let me see. We're gonna make the little tea cart for Mrs. Potts, and I've already started that here. This is like the leg. There's gonna have to be 4 of those, and then I've got this little piece of wood here. And then we'll see. We'll kind of understand all this better the more we get done with it. And then this is going to be like the bottom. And then it needs a little wheel where you can roll it. And then I was thinking, I've got these little beads that might look like a wheel, kind of. So I don't know. I've got those little beads that would actually turn if I put them on that piece of wood. That looks pretty cute. But then I've got these little gold pieces here. Whoops, well now I just dropped it. All right, so I thought that would look pretty cute. And I'll have to try to, this might make more sense too if I post a picture of how that's supposed to look. But I've just got all these little pieces here, just fiddling with it and playing around with things. But I'm going to get everything laid out a little bit better so I can make sense of what I'm doing. So I'm going to do the bow real quick because I just kind of want to get it cut out. So you can see where I've glued the two together, and I've drawn a line there, and I'm going to just kind of eyeball it. Like there's a corner here, so I'm going to cut from that corner up to that corner where the line goes. And let me see, a bow is just a narrow little piece of wood. Okay, I don't know. I don't think I like the shape of it, but I can play with it a little bit. That is definitely not even. And it definitely needs to be thinner than that. Bows are pretty thin. Okay, and it don't need that sharp of a point. And that's pretty much going to be good, I think, for what it is, for the scale. I still think it needs to be a little less thick in the middle. Let me just shave it down. I feel like the more I cut it down, I'm going to end up messing it up. Now, where'd he go? Alright, so I think once I get it painted, it's going to look good. And then once I get it bent back and put a string on it, it's going to look pretty good too. But that, I think that looks pretty good for what it is. And the little string for it, I've got this tag, and it's the only little string I could find, so I'm going to take that string off that tag and use it. It's kind of like the color of it. So I'm going to paint this, tie that little string around it, and then of course bring it down and tie it to the other corner. And that's going to look pretty cool. It's going to definitely give the look that I need. So there's that. Here's the little bows, or the arrows, and the little pack. I just got to paint this up. And I can tell that camera is wanting to focus on them pictures in the background. But there's that. That looks pretty cute. And then for the strap, I've got this black ribbon. I'm going to glue that to it so that it can go around his body there. So that's going to look pretty cute. And then for the legs of the T-cart, I've been sitting here trying to bend these wires to match as close as possible. I still got to work on them just a little bit. But there are the legs to the T-cart. And then I've got to attach these here and here where my fingers are holding them. The wheels will go down here on this part. And then we got to sit the cart. I got to make a little tray. I got to cut this down, and that's going to be the T-cart. So I'll make the little tray from this piece of foam board, and then I got to build up some little sides to it, because usually a tray will have little sides going around it. And that is so funny, that little tag, that would make the prettiest little edge, like for that T-cart. That might be a really cute idea. But I was going to take a little piece of poster board to do that, but I'm actually liking how that detail on that tag will give that some decoration. So I might actually use that if it will be the size that I need it to be, which I think it will. So let me go ahead and get the little tray built, and then I'll glue all the parts together and let you see them before I paint everything. Alright, so let's see where we are. I've got everything just about done. This is the piano bench, and I've got these little ends on here I just glued that last end across there, and I just need to snip that off. But this is how I do it sometimes. Instead of cutting that piece exactly the shape or the size that I need, I'll just make it longer, and then I just snip it off real easy like that. So it's going to be a pretty basic piano bench. I'm not doing like a really fancy one. Just simple top, and then I've got these little square legs. It's going to go glue those in there like that. And it's just super, super basic. Nothing fancy at all. And it might be, uh, those legs might be a little too long. I'm just going to have to get Gaston out here to be my little model for a minute, because piano benches aren't very tall. So I got to, no, that's a pretty good size scale. All right, so anyways, that's going to be the piano bench once I get the legs glued on. Of course, we saw the little arrow and the little holder for that. And then I've got this little piece cut out that's going to be painted a different color. This is supposed to look like it's made out of leather. So I'm, of course, going to paint that brown. And then this extra little piece, it's more or less of a decorative piece. It'll go around there. I'll paint it a little slightly different shade of brown just to give it some detail. And then I'm noticing I've lost my black ribbon. I don't know where that went. I'll have to figure it out. And then, of course, the bow. That's like the most ridiculous bow. It's literally a piece of poster board just cut into this shape, but I think it's going to be so effective. I mean, it's going to look so good once it's done. To be something so silly, it's going to look so good once it's done, I think. And then, of course, get that put on it. Now, the best piece of all is this little tea cart, and it turned out so good, which I just glued these pieces here on, and I just about forgot it. I don't want to bump those off. I just put those little gold pieces on for a decorative purpose. And then you just sort of can see here how I've done it. Really easy. It looks very complicated, but it wasn't. I did cut out a little indentation on the bottom, just kind of halfway through that foam board, and I just kind of sat that wire down in the foam board, so it's glued on there really good. You can sort of, I guess, tell that how it kind of goes up in there, but it's super easy. And of course, the bottom, there's how that looks. It's not exactly level and perfect, but it looks pretty darn cute. I cannot wait to get this piece painted. It looks so good. This was one of those pieces where, as I was making it, I didn't think it was very good, but looking at it right now, where I've spent a little bit of time away from it and coming back to it, it's like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. I guess you get burned out working on something, especially when it's this much to do. It's complicated, a little complicated, but not really. But anyway, it looks so good. Now, there was a girl on the internet. I have no idea where I saw it. I don't know if it was on Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook. I can't remember, but she had made a little cart very similar to this. Hers was like a million times better than mine, and I had hers in mind when making this, and I thought, man, mine's not going to look that cute. But if you put them side by side, yes, hers is still probably better, but I am really pleased with how mine's turned out. So I'm just super excited about it. But anyway, I'm going to go off camera. I think this is just going to be like one solid color. I'll have to look at the picture. I don't really know what color it's supposed to be. And then I'll paint this, and I'll glue this together, and it's just going to be painted brown. So I'm going to just go off camera to do it, and then we'll come back. Now, this leg right here, it is a little bit thicker, a little fatter, bigger than the others, and it's like, nobody's going to know that. You probably wouldn't even have noticed that if I hadn't said it, but that'll go towards the back. You're not really going to notice it. It's not that much bigger, but I ran out of wood this size, so anyway, nobody's going to pay attention to that. All right, so everything's painted, and I'm letting it all dry before we check it out. So we're going to look at this cool book that I found, and what's so wild about this is, of course, it's got my favorite guy, Gaston, and my favorites from when I was a kid. I was obsessed with the Dalmatians and Aladdin, and even on the inside, The Lion King. Those are like my favorite movies. And then later in life, I got into The Little Mermaid, so even there's The Little Mermaid. So I thought, how funny, my 5 all-time favorites in this together. And then you got these cool little figurines over here that you can take out and play with. And it's got this mat that you can fold out and play on. So it's super cool. And I just wanted to show that a little bit. And of course, when you first open it up, we've got Gaston. So I'm going to read just this first little page here. It says, Gaston is a strong and handsome hunter. Of course he is. He is also arrogant with a huge ego and terrible manners. What? Greedy, hot-headed. Excuse me? Who wrote this? Calculating and brutal. Okay, I think they're getting that all mixed up with this dog over here on the next page. Because Gaston, I'm just not even going to read this. I'm like super offended that somebody would say that about him. So we're just going to stick this back over on the bookshelf and we'll just check out what I made today. All right, so here's where we are. That's how the little tea cart turned out, and I think it's pretty good. I kind of went a little too heavy on aging it. I didn't know I was going to age it that much, but it just happened, and it still looks pretty cute. I did notice in some pictures the whole thing looked gold. Some pictures this tray part looked white. So I just kind of went with that look. So I thought it would be a little bit better than just all gold. And then, of course, here's the piano bench. I had made that way too tall. I went over and tried to stand Lumiere on it, and where his little wire is glued to the floor, he couldn't stretch up long enough to stand on top of it. So I had to cut the legs down a little bit so he could reach to the top of this. But that's, again, like it's a pretty simple little bench. It's nothing fancy. It definitely, maybe I should have went a little fancier with it. It just don't look like something that would be in a castle. Maybe it could be. I don't know. I don't even know if it shows a piano bench. I think it just shows the piano. So I guess it's okay. Now here is Gaston's little arrows and his little backpack to carry them in. And I tried to age those up, but they look pretty cute. And then here, of course, is the bow. And then I don't know what that is hanging off of it. But that turned out really cute. Let me get him in here where we can sort of see what it looks like on him. At first I was like, did I make it too big? But then it's like I tried it on him and it looks pretty cute. So let me get it down where it needs to be. There we go. See, that looks pretty darn cute. And if you look at a lot of the pictures, it comes up behind him over his shoulder like that, and it looks so good. I'm just so tickled with how that has turned out. And of course he's got his bow and he can hold it. I put a little piece of right here, that's a little piece of floral tape just to give it like a little decoration. And of course he can hold it, but I don't know if he will. There, he's holding it for a minute. But yeah, it looks super cute. I'm so excited. So I'm going to stick this. Well, let me grab the characters and sit them on here so you can see how they look. All right, so here's Miss Potts. And I thought I had made that a little bit big, but after I got her sitting on there and Chip, I thought, well, that's a pretty good amount of space for them. And plus, if you push him over here, like using him for scale, it looks pretty good. It's a little bit, it looks pretty good. I don't know if it should have been smaller or if it's a good size, but I like how it looks. And it gives her plenty of room to have more things on the cart if you wanted to put like some plates and stuff on there with them, or if she had the rest of her little cup family on there with her, that would be cute. So you've still got plenty of room to put more stuff. And then of course, Lumiere will sit on the bench, and I'm going to sit Cogsworth next to him. And then I can even use Plumette. I don't know who I want to sit beside him. I kind of like how they both look. And then maybe Lumiere can go between them. But that is super cute. So let me get it put in the room, and then you can get the full effect of it. Okay, so here's the little piano bench. And to get Lumiere to stay in place, I've got this little ball of museum wax. And this is the kind of museum wax I use. Got that at an estate sale, actually. But I'm going to just do a little ball of that right under there. And then I'm going to put him kind of right in the middle. And that didn't stick at all. Well, let's see. Okay, what the heck's going on? Maybe there's not actually enough under there. It needs to have more because it's kind of hollow up in there, so I need to put a little bit more. Let me get a little booger of wax. And okay, put that there. All right, there he is. Let me focus that. Okay, there he is. Eek. Okay, he's super cute. Now let's put his little lady up there with him. Let's fluff up her little feathers. There's his little buddy. And okay, now we've got Mrs. Potts and her little baby Chip. Okay, Chip's just having a rough time. He can't hardly stand up. He might need to get a little museum wax under him too. Because if he falls over one more time, he's going to go out the door. And there's the little puppy dog. So let's see. Isn't that just the cutest? Oh my gosh, I like it so much. And I've got one little surprise that I have not told anybody about. But first we got to look at Gaston over in his part of the project. Now around here on this side, I've got this goat head, which is like a black goat. And I had said that I was going to add one more head to the wall. He kind of freaks me out. Black goats are creepy. I don't know if I even want to put him in there. I guess, do I need to put him in there? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. So let's just check out the little bow and arrows real quick. I'm just going to lean those right over here in the corner. And then here's the bow. Where should I put the bow? Just lay it down there, I guess. Or maybe kind of stand it up. Maybe I should put a little nail in the wall to hang it on. No, that's okay. So that's pretty cute. And I think that's all it needs. I just wanted a little something to sit over here on this side of the room so it's not just so empty. So now it's got it. And then, I don't know. I feel like I need to use this because, I mean, I went as far as cutting its poor little head off, so I might as well do it. So I'll get that glued in place, and then I'll take some pictures of everything. All right, so I got one thing that I've got to show. So if you listen to that, I got to tell this little story because if you know about the little babies that my niece had hidden all through the house, of course, this is my shampoo bottle. This has been in my shower for I don't know how long. I don't know how long it takes me to use this size of a bottle, but it takes a long time. And anyway, my niece came in here and she said, "When are you going to be done with that shampoo bottle?" And I said, "I don't know." So a few days went by and she asked me again. And I thought, what is the deal with the shampoo bottle? Why do you want me to use that shampoo bottle up so bad? So she finally broke down and just told me because she couldn't stand it any longer. I don't know how long that has been in there, but she put, I guess back when she hid those, however long that's been. But I just thought how funny that little baby has been in there that long. But she, that is just the funniest thing. And of course, I have gotten it down to the last little bit. So I thought that was the funniest thing. And I just wanted to show that to everyone who has been following the story about the hidden babies in the house. And then one thing I wanted to mention about this trim, you know, I did that trim on my Willy Wonka project, and I'm just thinking, okay, a trim on my projects is becoming a thing, which it just looks so good, and it's such a good way to finish a piece out. But I've actually got this little list of stuff that I was wanting to show or mention, which I think I've done most of this. Yeah, I think I'm done. Now, again, I'll get this glued in there. And this poor little goat, he says, it's not my fault that I'm creepy. I'm just a little black goat. But a little bit satanic, but I'll just look at it in a way that it's just some innocent, sweet little goat and not look at the creepiness of him. Just don't watch the movie The Witch because that will give you a completely different idea about cute little goats. But then here's this side. I don't guess I've done anything new to this side. You know, the movie takes place in the fall, so it's a good time of year because this is literally like the second day of fall. So it fits in very well. And I'm debating, my poster board in the background is falling over, but I'm debating on if I should glue these down or museum wax them down. I definitely want to use museum wax if I don't glue them. I feel like I'd regret gluing them down, but maybe the museum wax will be good in case if I want to move them or do something with them. But anyway, I hope y'all have enjoyed this episode. This is my final little video. I will do one more video just like showing pictures of everything that has come together. And oh wait, just 1 minute. I said I had a surprise and I'm completely about to forget that. All right, so the surprise is Gaston and Gaston. Now, of course, through this whole project, I have used this little guy as my model for like scale reference. And of course, I had this set, an extra set that was in a box. And did I open those? No, I did not. I actually, well, I bought this one because I got into this character. So I bought him just by himself off eBay. And then, of course, y'all, if you've been watching, you saw that I got this set that's in the box, and I said I didn't really want to open it, and that I might try to find a set out of the box. So that is exactly what I did. I was able to find a cheap set off of the internet, and so that's what I've got, and that was my surprise that I was so excited about. Belle is having like a big hair day, so I'm gonna have to tame her hair down a little bit and put her little bow back up in there. But I was so excited when I got these, so I'm gonna get to use these for this project, and then I can stick mine back over with my Gaston collection. And then we've still got the set that don't have to be opened. But anyway, I was so excited when I found them, and I got them at a pretty reasonable price because these things are not cheap if you look them up. And I just hated to open that box because I think we paid like $80 for this box set. And I just thought, I don't want to open those. So anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this little episode, this video. Thank you so much for liking and commenting. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you all in the next video, which is hopefully going to be the Munsters.